Good morning, beautiful people. So it has been some time. I've been under the weather a little bit, dealing with some illnesses, typical cold or whatever, flu season. But I promised you guys a video, and the video was on vaccines and law enforcement. It's not a simple yes or no, you should or shouldn't. But I wanted to give you a little bit of history about it before I tell you my opinion on the matter. So first of all, you have to ignore fake news. You have to avoid conspiracy theories if you're going to live on the reality of real life. And so I'm a college professor, as you know. I'm a former police officer. And 2 + 2 is still 4, no matter how you look at it. And so you can't ignore that. Before I start talking too much about the vaccine, I will tell you this. No one likes shots, okay? When you were a child, your parents took you to get vaccines for schools, and no one, I'm sure you didn't like it. And if you did, something's definitely unique about you, because the majority of human beings don't like to get any kind of vaccine, period, right? We go to the doctor because we're sick, and maybe the doctor tells us we need a shot, and oh my gosh, is there anything else I could do besides a shot, because I don't like shots. Anyway, I wanted to get that out of the way so that you understand how people think, okay? We, as human beings, don't like shots. And so, anyway, we don't like pain. We don't like that. And so then, let's talk about the vaccine. I told you earlier in the video that there's reality, there's conspiracy theories, and there's the fear of getting a shot. The reality is, you need to look up a Dr. Katalin Karikó, who was one of the first people to develop the mRNA vaccine, which is the Pfizer vaccine. And some of you out there, watch your preferred news network, which, again, stop watching the news. They're brainwashing you. But anyway, and they tell you, hey, don't get the vaccine. They just, they came up with this thing. It's not even FDA approved. I'm a college professor. I want you to dig into this further, deeper, so that you can make an informed decision. The informed decision is that Dr. Karikó actually spent 27 years of her life with another doctor named Dr. Weizmann developing a vaccine to combat inflammation. Inflammation is what causes disease in human beings. So, I'm an academic doctor, and so before I did this video, I did my research. I didn't want you guys to just get a video saying, hey, get the vaccine or don't get the vaccine. No, I wanted you to be informed. Everything that I tell you in this video, you should go confirm for yourselves. Don't just take my word for it. Go get it checked out. So anyway, Dr. Karikó, along with Dr. Weizmann, worked for over 27 years on developing a vaccine for inflation in the human body. And that's the mRNA research that you can check into and find out about. And so when COVID hit, it was decided by Dr. Karikó and others and her team that, hey, what if this works on COVID, right? The COVID virus. And so, again, this was not a vaccine that was developed overnight. It was 20+ years in the making. And so it was effective against combating inflammation in the human body. And so they turned it into a COVID vaccine. And so for those of you out there who are skeptics about how long this research has been going on, you need to realize that it's been going on for some time. It's gone through a bunch of tests, trials and errors, etc., right? So anyway, after they tried it on 20-some thousand people, Pfizer started offering the shot, and then of course it took off, and it's being offered now worldwide. Pfizer is one of several. There's Moderna. If you're in Europe, there's AstraZeneca or something, and then there's Johnson & Johnson, the one shot, and of course there's rumors about that causing blood clots, etc., right? So this is important that I start the video telling you about this, because again, I don't want you to get the YouTube, I want to entertain you version. I want to educate you, right? So before I even tell you anything further, I want to talk about polio. If you look at the history of polio, many kids were getting polio and dying by the thousands. It was out of control. It was somehow, some kid went swimming in a creek. Next thing you know, she had polio and she was basically paralyzed from the waist down. And these kids were dying at a young age. And so it was a worldwide epidemic. And they came out with a vaccine and they made it a mandatory thing for all children. And they eradicated polio, right? It went from thousands and thousands of children dying every year to a few thousand to none, right? And so you can't ignore this, by the way. You can't ignore what I'm telling you. You just have to, and again, dig into it yourself, not in conspiracy theories. Don't go to AM talk radio. Those people are not educated. They're not going to know about this. And so you do your research, right? Go to actually medical journals, etc., to read about things like polio, to read about the research from Dr. Carrico on the Pfizer vaccine. So now that I've told you a little bit about the COVID vaccine, I want to talk about law enforcement. I wanted to be a police officer more than anything. I wanted to be a pilot first, and I became a police officer because that's what I wanted to do. And I love being a police officer. And so we arrested people with all kinds of disease in law enforcement. It was some people had flesh-eating bacteria, other people had hepatitis, and I remember one year the sergeant came in at our briefing and said, "Hey, you guys need to sign up for the polio vaccine. It's a series of 2 to 3 shots. You have to take one, wait a little bit, take another one, and so forth." And all of us were kind of like, "What? We have to take a hepatitis shot?" "Yeah, because you guys are basically coming into contact with people that have, hepatitis B, and you need to protect yourselves." Because we were getting notices from the jail that, hey, the prisoner you just booked has active hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis whatever. And so other people had flesh-eating bacteria and all kinds of stuff. And so I was told to get the shot. Well, I went and got the shot. I waited a month, got another shot. Then I was supposed to get another shot, then I forgot. I went back a few months later to go, you know what, you got to start the shots over again. So I started the shots over again, and boom, I did the hepatitis shots. I didn't crawl like a little baby and say, "Oh my God, I don't want any shots. How long have these shots been around? How effective are they? Do I really need it? Will they cause me to grow something? Oh my gosh, I just did it. I was a government employee. Peace officers are government employees. They're peace officers. And so we deal with a lot of people that have disease. And so that brings me to you listening, watching this video on the COVID vaccine as it applies to law enforcement officers, right? The COVID vaccine as applies to law enforcement officers. It concerns me that this country is divided. It concerns me that politics is driving the truth into different parts of the planet. It concerns me that 2 + 2 in some people's eyes is not 4. That some people are so mesmerized by conspiracy theories and what others say about this and that than real scientific evidence. Look up polio, look up the research on mRNA vaccine. And so you as a person, you're watching my channel, you want to get into law enforcement, you want to work as a law enforcement officer, and your department tells you have to be vaccinated. Why? Because you're going to be in contact with thousands of people in the world who are carrying the COVID virus, right? And the research now shows us that the majority of the people that are dying now in December 2021 are younger people without the vaccine and vaccinated for COVID, and older people unvaccinated for COVID, right? And it's sad if you look at the map of the United States where the deaths are occurring, they're occurring in places that people are not getting vaccinated. I want you to think about this for a second. Why? A few weeks or a few months ago, my sister was at a hairdresser, and a man and a husband came in, and they were talking about, do I get vaccinated? Do I not get vaccinated? And the man, very anti-vaccine, says, "I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't care if I die." And so my sister told him, well, I travel, so I don't want to, put my life in jeopardy. So I'm going to get the vaccine, or I got vaccinated, whatever she told him. And so he was adamant he didn't want to get the vaccine. And so she says, well, let me ask you this. This is in front of the guy's wife, right? Let me ask you this. How bad do you believe in it? Do you believe against it? Because is it bad enough that you're willing to die for it, right? Is it bad enough that you're willing to die? That's pretty strong. My sister was like, she's a manager. She's like, hey. And so then his wife looks at him and says, honey, maybe you should get the vaccine. I mean, the guy's got diabetes. He's an older person. If he gets the COVID, he may not be able to make it. So I don't know what happened. I'm just sharing a story with you because it applies to you right now. How bad, if you're anti-vaccine, how bad are you anti-vaccine? Bad enough that you're willing to die to just stand your ground and say, I'm not getting the shot? Because if that's the case, save yourself some time. Don't go work for a government agency, right? Save yourself some time. Save yourself some headache. Don't go work for a government agency, because eventually they're going to make it a requirement. Teachers are required to have it now. Professors at universities are required to have it. Federal employees, state government employees, county employees, they're required to have it. And so if you're going to be the one that's going to stand on the mountain and say, hey, I'm not getting it, then again, that's your choice. But stand, or realize early not to waste your time and go apply for a job, a full-time position in law enforcement, because you're going to have a heck of a time trying to fight against the system. Now, I'll tell you another statistic that really brings it home, right? 97 officers had died from shooting a few months ago. That's like nationwide, 97 officers. 380 officers have died from COVID. Those are statistics. Look it up. Go pull it up. Pull up these statistics. So 90 officers died from getting involved in shootings, and almost 400 have died from COVID. And then I get these videos of officers that are retiring after so many years because they don't want to get the shot, because they're adamantly, they don't want to get the shot. The department's making them get the shot. They don't want to get the shot. And so I'm a college professor. I'm a former police officer. I want you to be considering the fact, how bad are you willing to stand on the no, I'm not going to get it? And again, it's your right, perfect right not to do it. But if you decide not to do it and you come down with COVID and you die because your body doesn't have whatever it takes to fight this freaking new virus, right? Who's there to blame but you? And so then they say, hey, what's happening recently? Look on the news. Pastor so-and-so preached for the last, 2 years, anti-COVID vaccine. He died. Another pastor preaching anti-vaccine. He died. Another pastor, look it up. All the stuff that I'm telling you, look it up. They died. Again, they died for what? For lack of information, for I'm not going to do it, period. Okay? Is it worth it? Is it worth that? And I say no. Now, if after all of this rambling that I just did for you, you say, I don't want to get the shot, Brian, nothing you say is going to convince me, then don't do it. Don't do it. But if you're going to work for a law enforcement organization, be prepared, okay? Be prepared to be required to take the shot, okay? And there's going to be some, maybe some side effects from the vaccine. I'm vaccinated. I did the Pfizer, and the first time I took it, nothing happened. Second time, I got a little bit of a fever, some feelings that you get when you get the flu shot, and then I just recently got the booster. So I want you guys to be aware of this information. Again, don't ignore facts, right? Don't ignore facts. Stop following the sheep, right? I always used to say this in classes before we hit COVID. people would, I say, don't be a sheep, You got to be a leader. You got to be the leader of the pack. You can't be the one that follows the mob. The mob might be going and jumping off of a cliff. Look up the Jonas massacre a few years ago in this town, where a bunch of people drank poison because they believed whatever they believed, right? Again, look it up. 200 people drank poison because their leaders told them to do it. And this is not to do with COVID. Now, side effects. Let's talk about side effects before I close this video. Every medication you take has side effects. Every medication, okay? Whether it's aspirin, whether you get a prescription for, depression, whatever you're going through, right? A lot of people are on prescription medication. This is why Rite Aid, CVS, and Walgreens are gazillionaires. Every medication has side effects, right? So every prescription that you put into your body is going to have side effects. They tell you when you take the COVID vaccine, you may have some side effects, right? There may be some side effects, and that's just part of the, what's going to happen. So don't, before you decide to do it or not do it, do your homework. Check into it like I did, right? My mom got the Moderna, worked out really well for her, vaccine, and I got the Pfizer. My brother got the Pfizer. My sister got the Johnson, and she was a little bit sick for a while, and then she's fine, okay? And then my other sister got the shot, I believe the Pfizer, and again, no problems. But there could be side effects. So if you're worried about it, consult with your doctor, your medical doctor, obviously. Don't find some conspiracy theorist doctor. Find a doctor that has actually gone through medical school and knows about these things. And again, before you commit to a law enforcement career, before you commit to a government career, FBI, CIA, NSA, police officer, deputy sheriff, California High Patrolman, state investigator, whatever, make sure that it's going to be a good fit for you, because you're going to be a peace officer working for a government agency, and they do have a right to require you, because you come in contact with so many people, to get vaccinated for different things. So that's my opinion. Please make some comments, write some comments about, did you get something out of this video? Did you want me to talk about something else? I hope you did get something out of this video. Before I close it, I will tell you this. I get the flu shot every year. This year, I did not get the flu shot, and I got sick. So, again, some people don't get the flu shot and they never get sick. Good for them. But as we get older, the flu impacts us in very drastic ways. Your lungs, it takes years off of your life if you don't get the flu shot. So if you haven't got the flu shot, here's your college professor telling you to, recommending you to go and get the flu shot. Again, consult with your doctor on all of these things that I talk about before you actually go out and do them. But do keep everything I said in this video, take it into consideration. Go research Dr. Carrico's research on the vaccine to find out that it wasn't developed overnight in some garage, that it took 27, almost 30 years for them to, go through lab tests and make sure that it's a human vaccine that actually helps inflammation. And every time somebody tells you something, always decide, where did it come from? Who's it putting out? Is it benefiting some conspiracy theory? And if you're going to be successful in life, please, trust me, conspiracy theories are best left on Netflix and documentaries and those places, not in your personal life, because you're really going to suffer a lot if you decide to ignore reality and live in that place. Thank you for listening. I love you guys, so this video was done with love. And again, make some comments. Do subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to this video, and share it with other people who need to hear this, who are contemplating on taking the shot, not taking the shot if they're going to get a law enforcement job. Love you guys.